I'm ready for war, I'm forever rebellious, and my heart full of anger. them shackles up off my wrists and my ankles. I'm roaming with one in the chamber. Had my hands up in that Cowboy Cafe and said I couldn't breathe and I wasn't restraining. Ran away from them, that pit started jumping. Now when ain't nothing to do but get gangster, won't protest the picket. This shit so sickening. Now these folks killing our women and children. I know my niggas be wildin' and tripping, but now we done witness who really against us. The one with the power to position us in these fucked up conditions. I ain't no Christian, ain't good with forgiving. Ain't turning my cheek, now I'm raising that pistol. Lord, forgive me.
With all my breath, with all my strength, with all my pain, I'm fighting this war. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. No turning back, 'cause I'm free.
Hey, spread the word to my people. The spirit fell on me, told me fight against the evil, Nat Turner. Nat Turner, yeah. Fuck the sticks now, nigga, got burners. Hold up, hey, spread the word to my people. The spirit fell on me, told me fight against the evil, Nat Turner. Nat Turner. We in the streets, now we all got burners. Hold up. I'm hearing voices in my head say I need to be free. Is you blind, my nigga, 'cause it's war in these streets. And the word persecution, you against the police. Shackle and chained up and down, niggas still in these streets. Turned up, yeah. Everybody wanna be a nigga, hey, but don't nobody wanna be a nigga. We keep on begging, what the fuck you think they finna give us? Black lives don't matter, boy, you still a nigga. Still treat me like a criminal. I bust back, fade to black, you don't hear me though. I don't fear it, if I give in, I gain. Washed in the blood, so I live for the game. Truth make me free, so I'm banging this name. AR-15 letting my freedom reign. Insane, to repeat once again. 400 years that we deep in this thing. Endgame.
Get out my way! It's not my baby! No, not my baby, no!
Black mama still crying on TV. These young brothers still dying on TV. Crackers on the camera still lying on TV. 3% rappers might put it on the CD. And our leaders, most of them speechless. How you gon' preach when you ain't trying to reach us? I'm Denmark Bessie, but watching my own. But some of our people might help them defeat us. Watch out for leeches, snakes in the grass, I done peeped them. That glare in your eye, I can see it. Heart full of hate and the mind full of secrets. Don't need to be around me, you niggas deceitful. I'm sorry, but Lord, I done got tired of praying. My patience too thin to be peaceful. It's eye for an eye, 2 for a 2. 400 years, bitch, it's time to get even.
Hand me that Vega, dog. My daddy always told me to look before I leap and think before I speak, and watch out for the company I keep, and always pack a heat when I'm out in the streets, and keep an eye out for the crooked police. I'ma let you see the world through my eyes. I'ma let you see, expose all the lies. Born in the belly of the beast, prison of Babylon, refugee from the east. These mean streets, seems like the world just got beef with a nigga. Whole system designed to slay, he had a nigga, yeah. I used to think that's how the game goes, and it ain't gon' change, so I'm like, fuck
welcome to Dirty Laundry, y'all, the podcast where we unpack the hard truths and the heavy baggage that affect the Black community. These are things that only we can address, that nobody else can touch. So, without further ado, y'all know what time it is. This is officially my 6th week. This is my 6th week doing it. This is what I consider Black therapy, right? I always start the show off with the song. I'm gonna let you see it. The world through my eyes. I'm gonna let you see it. Expose all the lies. I think I'm gonna play it again. Let me play it one more time. Let me play it one more time. I think we have to do this because it's important for tonight's show. Tonight's show is one of the most controversial things that I've been talking about in the past week. When it came up, I was doing a training. It came up, and the topic of this topic came up, and it was like all the men in the room was like, dun, dun, dun. You know what I'm saying? So I want to unpack it, but I want to rock my song one more time because I think it's hot.
Hand me that Vega, dog.
I just love the chorus. The chorus, I love the whole song, but I'm saying like it is so appropriate.
My daddy always told me, look
Look
before I leap and think before I speak, and watch out for the company I keep. And always like the heat when I'm out in the streets. Keep an eye out for the crooked police. I'm
Let you
lost.
see it.
The
The
world
world
through
in
my
my
eyes. I'ma
I'ma
let
let
you
you
see
see it.
it. Expose all the lies.
So tonight I'm gonna expose something that I consider is a lie, and that is toxic masculinity. The term toxic masculinity. What is it? Can anybody explain to me what toxic masculinity is? What is it to be toxic as a masculine man? Most men will tell you that there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's only toxic people. There isn't toxic masculinity. There's toxic people. And that is my arguing point tonight. My arguing point is that because I know it to be true. This is a term that to me was brought up by the feminist movement. The feminist movement came up with a term that they could use to leverage themselves in a patriarchal society. That's how I feel about it. Because there's only unhealed people. There's only toxic people. There's no toxic gender, right? Well, let me back that up a little bit. There can be a toxic gender. There can be a toxic male and a toxic female. But to label something toxic masculinity is a blanket phrase to me. It is something that people use to not want to be associated with the patriarchy, which we do have a patriarchy. We do exist in a patriarchy. Is that on purpose? Did men purposely say that they weren't going to allow women to participate in the heavy lifting? Was that something that we said that we didn't want to happen? Or is it something that came because we decided that because we are the larger of our species, bone density wise, bone mass wise, that we decided that we wanted to do all the heavy lifting? What is it to be toxic, right? And be masculine at the same time? Because most men would argue that masculinity isn't all of those things that you describe as toxic. For example, if somebody says, I'm trying to teach you how to do something and you're corrected by it, right? Like he corrects you and he corrects you sharply, but not in a way, not in an exaggerated way, like people say, like kind of like how your boss would correct you. As a woman, your boss can correct you, and you don't call that toxic masculinity if he's a male. You just take those orders. A lot of times we frame things as toxic just because there is in my opinion, in my personal opinion, we live in a world where people are sensitive and they like to label things, and they want people to pacify them when they do stupid shit. I don't know, but to label something toxic and masculine, my point is that check this out. Women can act masculine too. Do we label that toxic masculinity? Is that something that we say, okay, she's toxic masculine? Is that something that we can agree on? That women do act toxic. Women can be masculine and still be toxic in their masculinity. So it's not a man woman thing at that point. Wouldn't you agree? Well, tonight we're going to unpack this conversation. We're going to dig deep. I'm going to have some guests on the show. I'm going to have a real good friend of mine. I got Manal coming back, my regular. She's always in the building. And we are going to unpack this because this is something that needs to be unpacked. Toxic masculinity. What is it? If anybody can tell me what it is, I'm almost, if you have a educated answer, if you could tell me what it is, I mean, because I get lost in it, and it triggered a lot of guys. It didn't trigger us in a negative way, but it triggered a response from the guys that I was doing training with, and we all agreed that like there's no such thing as toxic masculinity in the context in which it's meant, right? Because first of all, men don't want to be defined by toxic masculinity. We don't like that phrase because then you can label it. You can label anything that I do toxic. Any trait that I do is toxic. If I raise my voice, I have to, lower my voice when I'm talking, or that's toxic masculinity because you feel like I'm trying to dominate you in some kind of way if I'm being passionate about what I'm saying. Could that be toxic masculinity? Is it toxic that I want to carry all the groceries in the house, and you believe that because I'm able to carry all the groceries in the house that I'm being overtly masculine and I'm being toxic because I'm taking your rights as a woman away from you? What is it? What could it be? I'm interested. So tonight we're gonna unpack it. I got a couple of guests coming on tonight. I got my girl Manal. Like I told you, Manal is good. She's gonna come on. Miss Bay Windows from Miss Bay Windows, the podcast. She's gonna give her, licensed perspective on it. And then I got a really cool guest coming on, a really good friend of mine by the name of Miss Brittany McNeil. She's gonna unpack her. She's gonna air out her dirty laundry on the subject. Hopefully, I can get Dr. Aaron Willis in here tonight so we can cover it. It should be a wonderful conversation. I do call this Black therapy. It's an opportunity for us to have conversations about things that are uncomfortable. And one of the things that we're uncomfortable about as men in our society, we are uncomfortable with the label of toxic masculinity. We're uncomfortable with that. I'm gonna just be real with you. And what people really are trying to segue into is that Black men exemplify toxic masculinity. Now, that's a conversation that we can have. And we can talk about some of the forced societal perceptions on that issue too. Like, for example, if I'm passionate about something that I say, I am framed as being violent in interaction with cops. If you express yourself too openly, you know what I'm saying? But what's interesting is that there's certain things that happen in society that were perpetuated by other men other than our specific ethnic proclivity, and did we label that toxic? And hopefully Dr. Aaron Willis comes on tonight and we can unpack that too. George Floyd, was that toxic masculinity when he was, unalived? Or did we just ascribe it to, like, okay, what's toxic? And what's toxic for us? Is it just being a man being toxic? Because there's an agenda out here to effeminize men. I mean, one could argue that that's not true. You can say it's speculative, but I'm saying by and large, from my age group, young men are more, how do I say this in a nice way? Young men are more effeminate. There's no other way I can explain it. Is there a push? Is it social contagion? Is it one of those things that you just, okay? Can I pinpoint where this shit is coming from? Right. So the sudden influx of man bags. I mean, culture moves, right? We move culture by things that are popular. Like that's why we call it popular culture. So what's toxic masculinity? There's so many things that we can unpack around this. It's there are so many different avenues that we can take and talk about in terms of toxic masculinity. It can take so many twists and turns. It could be so many different things. It's so vague. It's just like, how is it that somebody can say that a man is toxic, and then what they describe is just an unhealed person? Masculinity. What is it to be masculine? What is described as masculine? First, we have certain things that are forced upon us as a people, especially in as from a socialization standpoint. You socialize to believe a certain thing because you exist in a system that has media that impresses upon people to think certain things, but it's really not that. When you start picking into what's toxic, what if I tonight I'm a pick. I am going to pick and get in people's minds, get in the women's minds that come on here. The women that come on here, when I talk to the ladies and come on, I'm going to pick their minds. I'm going to give you something to look at as an audience and say, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong about toxic masculinity. Maybe we shouldn't call it toxic masculinity. We should just call it unhealed people, because words really do matter. Do words not matter? I'm led to believe that words matter. And because words matter, we got to be cognizant and conscious of how we label things in our society. It's a truism. It's the truth. Because if you, okay, what if they labeled all black men as predators? Wouldn't that be uncomfortable? Isn't it an uncomfortable thing when somebody labels something? So I just want to understand. I just want to have an understanding of what the term toxic masculinity really is. And what does it represent in black culture? What does it yell to black boys and black men? How do we define what's toxic or not? Coming on the show right now is my guest and wonderful person, Miss Bay Windows. She is going to be joining us tonight. Miss Bay Windows, are you there? Miss Bay Windows, are you there? Of the show, I got Manal, Miss Bay Windows in the building. Of the show, Miss Bay Windows. Y'all give a round of applause for Miss Bay Windows for being in the building tonight. Love her. My girl, it's my regular. She will be assisting me in this conversation tonight because y'all know I'm telling the truth. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's no such thing. What do you think? Miss Bay Windows. Manal, what do you think?
Oh my goodness.
Manal, come on now. Come on, Manal. Come on.
So here's the thing. When we talk about toxic masculinity, first and foremost, of course, everything is all about the buzzwords, right?
Right.
Use language and it's just thrown around. And so when I think of an appropriate way to talk about toxic masculinity, I think about it in terms of what is unhealthy within men. What is unhealthy? And a lot of people tie it to everyday man things because they don't know what everyday man things are. Right?
Oh, we got to do it. We got to do it. It's tied to everyday man things.
Everyday man things. And so it's like we end up putting men in a box that they don't need to be in by using that language. And so really the conversation is about healed and unhealed behavior and perspectives, right? And so when we talk about toxic masculinity, we have to dead that language. We
I
have
promise
to.
you.
In order for men to be able to be free to be who they are, and in order for women to be able to take up space and be who they are, we have to start looking at unhealthy and healthy behavior in both men and women.
See, see,
We have to.
I was making sense when I said what I said because I say it's just unhealed people. You can't label something masculine because let's unpack this for a second. Women can be masculine, can't they? Can't women
Absolutely.
be masculine?
Yes.
So if we're saying toxic masculinity and the way it's framed in our society is that toxic masculinity is only applicable to men, is it
No.
possible that women can exemplify toxic masculine traits? And what are those? What are we calling those? Come on, let's get talk. Let's get
Yeah.
it. Let's
So
get it.
like so women can absolutely display toxic masculine traits. Because
Okay.
here's the thing, and a great example of this is appearance, right? We
Right.
and this is not, I'm not yucking nobody's yum. You do you. But when it comes to things like sagging pants, when it
Hmm.
comes to things like using profane language every other word, when it comes to um, feeling like you have to be aggressive in your language and communication all the time to get your point across, when it comes to feeling like you cannot be soft and nurturing.
Okay. Soft and nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's address this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a toxic trait or not a toxic trait? Tell me which one it is.
So when you don't have the ability, when you feel like it is a point of weakness, when you
Okay.
cannot display that, it is toxic. Whether you are, again, male or female, if you cannot have moments of tenderness and softness, that is toxic.
Hmm. So that kind of goes against everything that men are told that men are supposed to be in the society. That goes against it.
Yeah.
If if
Yeah.
if, if a man is not in a place where he can express himself emotionally, right, and he exemplifies more stoic behavior, is that toxic, or is that reactive, or is that proactive? Is he guarding himself? Is he protecting himself from not being vulnerable, like you said?
So it absolutely could be all of that, right? So when we talk about how we groom boys versus how we groom girls, because that's what it goes back to. We groom boys to be very stoic and be emotionless, and they're not allowed to express themselves freely. Ultimately, they have to be confined to someone else's expectations of them very early on.
Exactly.
Whereas girls, they get to be expressive. It is an expectation for them to be expressive. It is something that is so normalized that we don't even really trip off of it. Really, we don't even listen to girls the way we need to because we're so used to them talking. It's an expectation, and so when we look at that socialization between boys and girls, and boys are taught to not have feelings and hide pieces of themselves very early on, as men, you don't even know how to communicate your emotions. You don't even know how to really communicate your thoughts and opinions about things because you didn't have that room to practice when you were a child. So now you're an adult moving through the world and you're expected to not blow up on people.
Right.
You're expected to have compassion and empathy for others when you didn't really learn how to have it for yourself. And then when it comes to the context of relationship, we talk about we want our men to listen to us and hear us and empathize with us, but how when he's not given the same courtesy and respect and even the same practice to learn how
Oh
to do it.
man, you finna
And so,
listen. Listen, you can't keep doing this, man. I'm just trying to get you to understand that once you do that, it's just love for you. See, this is what men ask for. These times, this is what men ask for: exoneration on certain levels when it comes to arguments, right? And validation, not exoneration, but validation. Wrong word. Validation on the things that they say is the cause and effect of them appearing to be toxic. Do you understand what I'm saying? We
yeah.
appear to be a certain way. That's just like, okay, if you don't give me a safe space to express my emotions, and then I resort to having to be stoic, right? But then if I don't express myself and I'm building up all the pressure bust pipes, right? It bursts pipes, right?
Mhm.
So now I'm harboring all of this stuff. I'm harboring it. I'm harboring it. I'm harboring it. And then I don't get to express it in a healthy way to society. Then it comes out and it explodes. And this is what we call toxic. But this is cause and effect. Do you understand what I'm saying? You get where I'm
Mhm.
coming from? So now we label something toxic, and then we attach it to a certain gender, and it's only just people being unhealed or coming from traumatized situations or whatever. But it's not something that you should just say men are toxic. And then I say, in what way? What makes a man toxic? And you say, by not expressing yourself, by not being able to do this, by not doing that. And I'm going, but that's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean the way a lot of people are boxed in, that
Hmm.
absolutely is the case. You are put in positions where you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. And
That's like victim shaming and shit.
I I
Ain't
feel
that like victim shaming? Don't you think that's like victim shaming? Like, oh motherfucker, you can't be a victim.
you are hilarious.
You know,
It
they got the song. You know what's funny? They got a song that says big girls don't cry. But that should be big boys don't cry. Look, trip off this. When a little girl falls and hurts herself,
Mhm.
she is instantly coddled. People run to her aid. Oh, my baby, my baby, oh, my baby, oh. Right? But if it's a boy, is suck it up. You acting like a punk. Get your ass up. Now, is that what you're considering toxic? Would that be considered toxic? Think about what's being poured into this boy.
Mhm.
Because to all my viewers, black or white males, when you was a little boy and you fail, you did not get coddled when you fail. And why is that? And how does that correlate, right? Because now you're telling me to be resilient, and then you're telling me my resiliency is toxicity. I cannot live with that shit.
Yeah, but see that there's a difference, right? So like, to your point,
I'm having
what
such a
needs to
problem
happen,
understanding.
like, what needs to happen is when the child, see, now we need to be very neutral in the way we approach this.
Okay,
When
okay,
the
I'm here
child
for it.
falls and hurts themselves, whether they are male or female, what needs to happen is you need to ask them if they're okay. Then you need to ask them what happened
And
and
this
how
is
they
this is
feel
for
about
this
it.
is for either a male or female child,
For
correct?
male or female. Why is that important? Because everybody needs to have a witness to their experience and
Okay,
it be acknowledged whatever they went through. So
okay.
it starts early with the fall. I'm
Hmm.
acknowledging that you fell. I see it happened, and I'm going to check on you first. I'm going to show you empathy.
Right.
That's how you learn it. And then I'm going to help you with the language on communicating how you feel. Are you okay? And what can we do next time, right? So solutions if need be. right? And so, how does that translate now into adult life and adult communication and adult emotional intelligence that all of these women out here talking about they want from a man? Is this man is now able to, this woman is now able to identify what happened and communicate it. They're able to be empathetic with themselves and the other person. They're also able to communicate very clearly what happened, what their feelings are, what their thought processes are, and then what they need to do for themselves, and then how you can be a support to them. And that's how you have healthy dialogue with self and build bridges in relationship to other people. And that gets constructed when you're a child and you are approached appropriately, no matter you're a boy or a girl. And if I can communicate effectively, then all that toxicity that exists in both men and women won't develop.
Yeah, but that is in a perfect world.
It's in a perfect world.
In a perfect world, that's what you're talking about. But there's a social construct in place
It
that
is.
says it is like I'm at the end of a never-ending cycle of bullshit because as a man, I have to conform and act a certain way. That's like saying, I want you to protect me, but I don't want you to have the characteristics that you need to protect me. That's like
Yeah.
saying, that's like, I want you to fight for me, but I don't want you to know how to fight. I
Yeah.
want you to. Do you understand what I'm saying? What kind of lion do you want? Do you want a high roar,
Not with your
or do
eyebrows.
you want raw like that? Like, what do you want? Like, I don't understand what the fuck's going on. I don't get it. I don't get the oxymoronic shit that goes along with this term. Like, this is like I have issues with this, right? Because
Mhm.
I say that it's a spawn of feminism. And you and I had a conversation um, probably a couple of hours ago
Mhm.
about that. You was like, wait a minute. Now hold on for a second. But this is being okay. Maybe feminism is being hijacked.
Yeah.
Do you think feminism is being hijacked by this term? Or did it really spawn from feminism? Like women like saying, I'm every, did that come from that? The lady that was on the thing like this, women get under the women win in the war and shit. Like, like, did
Hey,
this come from that?
so here's so to answer your question. So feminine, being a feminist,
Are you a
being
feminist?
I am a feminist. I'm not. I don't. I'm a neutralist. Here's why. I'm a neutralist because I the real answer, the real is recognizing the power
Yeah.
that both possess and the positionality that both need to have in order for everyone to progress, right? And
Right.
so it's the neutrality that's going to help us progress, right? So if we lean too far to the left or to the right, then we're unbalanced as a people. That's not going to help anybody. And so when we talk about the feminist movement, it really needs to be about acknowledging women on an equal playing field with men. Not
But
that women are more superior, which is what tends to happen when you attach things like toxic masculinity to it. It means be more like me versus be a healthy version of you as a man. And when women don't take the time to learn themselves, then they can never place men appropriately as they need to be placed. So it starts again back to you. Do you understand what it is to be feminine? Do you exist in your femininity?
do you know what it's like to be what?
Do you know what it is to be feminine? Do you sit in that comfortably?
I, you're gonna get the studio shot up. I know it. It's gonna be some chick sitting outside like, bring her back on again. Bring her back. See what happens. She telling everything that's going on. Or you'll be gonna be labeled to pick me for these statements that you're making. And I'm willing to protect you. at all costs. Because
It's
here at
fine.
Dirty Laundry, we air out the tough issues that are hard to address in the Black community. And this has become a social contagion. I feel like, okay, this is how I feel. This gender war thing and all of this stuff that comes with this, I think it's all wrapped up in the same ball of doo doo. It's the
Yes.
same ball of shit. All of it's the same shit. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's all
Yes.
the same. So the reason why I associate this whole toxic masculinity thing with the feminist movement is because if we look back in history, right? The feminist movement started with who? Who did it start with? And who was fighting for equal rights at that time? Was it black women or was it white women?
It white women for 500, Alex.
So it was white women fighting for equal rights, and the black nuclear family existed pre this movement. Like the time frame is almost the same. When did the feminist movement start? In the 50s?
50s.
In the 50s. And ironically, after that, what happened? This is getting deeper because now we got to unpack a couple of things to really get to the bottom of it. But I don't want to get into the esoteric, conspiratory thing. This whole. I don't want to get into that. I want to stay right where I'm at and say, so women were fighting for equal rights, and then that's where these labels come from, where men are labeled a certain thing to take the oomph out of this industrial revolution that we had, where we was, people was working at General Motors and all that stuff, and you had these guys, and they needed, to turn the country around because the stock market crashed in the 20s, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But I think this label spawned from feminism. I think there's a difference from the feminist movement and feminism. If
Yes,
I'm a clarify,
for sure.
there is a difference between the feminist movement and feminism. I am with feminism, but I am not with the feminist movement that downgrades men and labels them and gives them titles like toxic masculine. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's a way to effeminize or water down masculinity. I do. I think there's a ploy against it because it makes the men who fight in our society weaker.
Mhm.
So the war is easier. Your men are now not. They're not. They are. Right. Oh man, guess what? Hey, look, I got another. I told you I had a special guest for y'all, man. Listen, we're gonna bring in Dr. Aaron Willis. Dr. Aaron Willis, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show, man. How you doing? Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I'm
Oh
doing well,
man,
man.
hey man, hey, listen, I'm doing wonderful tonight. How your night been, brother?
Oh man, my night is going and going, but hey, I'm here. It's like a jungle sometimes, but I'm here. I'm not under.
Okay. Is there any way we can get you to come on the screen, or can we just get your audio?
Right now, I just started. I'm on a different device, man, because I'm like working with a lot of stuff
Okay,
at
that's
once.
cool.
So
That works,
that's
man.
good.
That works. That works for me. So you you
Okay.
you know what the title is. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about
Mhm.
toxic masculinity tonight, man. Hey, listen, Dr.
Mhm.
Aaron Willis, man, can you give us your credentials? Can you tell us about yourself real quick? Because I like the audience to hear educated responses. Because we're not dummies on here. We really analyze things from a cognitive perspective. We are smart.
Yes. We all are smart, man. I'll just say this in the brief term: I am a lifelong learner. Just like today, I expect to learn something.
I like that, man. Yeah, give a round of applause. Give Dr. Aaron Willis a round of applause. We are all learners. We are all learners.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what we do at Dirty Laundry. We air it out so we can learn from our mistakes and rectify them. So, Doc, your take. Toxic masculinity. Go.
Well, you know what? I looked up the definition, right, just to see what it said.
Okay.
So let
I
me
know.
let me if you don't mind, I would like to start with two things, right?
Okay, go ahead.
First, I read the term masculinity. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So from what I read, masculinity is a set of socially constructed characteristics and behaviors traditionally associated with men and boys, but its definition varies across cultures and time periods. It often includes traits like strength, courage, and also encompasses vulnerability, emotional intelligence, and authenticity, right?
Right.
That's what I saw. Now, when I look at toxic masculinity's definition, it says it refers to harmful aspects of traditional masculine norms that can negatively affect both men and people around them, characterized by behaviors like emotional suppression, dominance, and hostility towards femininity. These concepts highlight how these behaviors, while often presented as desirable or masculine traits, can be destructive and contribute to mental health issues, violence, and strained relationships. Now, when I hear that, here's the thing. So reading that, for one, talking about, dominance and hostility, but masculinity says intelligence, authenticity, but also encompasses vulnerability. You can't, these are two totally different things, right? But
Exactly.
then I kept reading and it said, well, toxic masculinity isn't about masculinity in general, but rather specific harmful traits associated with traditional masculine ideas. Now, this is where I find it interesting, right? Um, and it has me raise a question because that right there is an opening. So whenever someone feels like they don't agree with anything, this term could be thrown around in a gaslighting fashion when you have that word right there. That opens the door for a non-Trump tight definition. So uh,
Yes. Thank you. Come on.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Come on.
So to
Come on.
me, what they really call toxic masculinity is really I don't. it's not masculinity at all. It's more like bizarro masculinity, and I don't know
It
how many
is.
age man. So when we saw Bizarro Superman, did we really consider him a version of Superman, or just a fake version of Superman, or no Superman at all? We didn't call him. We're like, no, that's bogus. So to me, uh, it
But
right,
Bizarro, man, this is what I'm saying. You never thought he was Superman.
right. You
You
never
was
thought
like,
it. So no,
who is
nobody.
this?
Nobody looks at it as masculine. So if somebody's acting a certain way, and these traits which are not good, right?
Right.
We don't even say that's toxic, man. We don't even throw the word masculinity in there. I'm gonna use the 3-letter acronym. We call them a BAN.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think we all know what that is.
right, right.
So, like, what she and I was unpacking before you got it, before you were
hmm
the show,
hmm
I said that it's a blanket statement, and what you just said confirmed it. It's just a blanket statement that people use to um, as a derogatory slander towards men, really, because it can be anything. It could be a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I'm being toxic.
You
You
either chewing
know, you
it.
chew it in a certain way.
I mean, again, when a word is used to where it can mean so many different things, when they had to feel like they had to put that disclaimer in there, then either something is or something isn't, or it could mean everything. And again, like I say, if a word can mean anything, then does it really mean? Then it means nothing, right? Or if not, then I would say that my Atari One is a PS5 because I said so.
Because
My Chevy Cruze is a Bentley GT because I said so, right? So, or
listen,
my
alakazam,
uh,
alakazam,
I,
Alibaba.
so again, it's like here's the thing about it, right? So when we use terms, and again, we all say if words really matter, then it has to have a meaning to it that doesn't leave room for a lot of confusion,
Right.
and not just the word that okay, I have a problem with you at this particular moment in time and seconds in the hour, so I'm going to use this term towards you. That's all I'm saying.
Right. 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 Listen, man. I have been so perplexed by and I told listen, this is what I told Manal. We were talking about it the other day. Remember when we had this conversation? Because I told you I was going to bring you on. We was having this conversation. We was going to unpack this. And it rattles every man when we hear it. When we hear that phrase, when we hear that toxic masculinity thing, we go, because the thing that you are describing isn't masculine at all. It's not even what we consider masculine as men. Do you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. So
But guess
it's
what?
just
But guess what? But guess what? Because we said just because we said this, somebody will accuse that of being toxic masculinity. Now that's the thing. Just because we said
You
that,
see what
that
I'm
would be
saying?
considered.
Just because we said that, they will. He's avoiding accountability. That's a toxic trait,
So
right?
yeah. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It's interesting when you hear, and every few years there are certain buzzwords that tend to get into the lexicon, and
Exactly.
this is one right now. So I'm not really too surprised, I'll say, because there'll be another term later on. There'll be
Exactly.
another evolution type of term that that would be attacking.
There
So
is
that's what.
going to be another term.
Mm-hmm.
There is
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to be another term. There's going to be another term come, and I'm just waiting to see what it is.
But
It's going to be. It's
what
going to
I'm
be
sorry.
rigid. It's going to be rigid male. Is that a
And what does that mean?
rigid? Rigid. What does it mean? You tell me, brother. I don't.
Whatever
It's
you say.
so it's a thingamajigger. Remember when we used to say thingamajigger, bro? It's a
Of course, there are others. There are those that are going to disagree. Hey, that's absolutely fine. But again, um, I know, and I know I'm not just speaking for myself. And when I hear this term, it applies to so many different things. If you do something, you could do something, and it's toxic masculinity. You cannot do the same thing, and that be considered toxic masculinity. So I'm like, what is it?
right. What could it be?
Is it or is it a because I say so term? I don't know. Now I will say this: there are people in general. Again, as was discussed in prior conversations. Now, there are people in general that just have things they need to work on, but I don't see it as being tied to one particular, whether it's the masculine or the feminine or whatever. It's not right. I don't see it that way.
Can you guys give an example of when you had a certain behavior or you made a certain choice and a woman said that that was toxic? Have you ever experienced that directly to you?
I actually can I you want to go first, Aaron? Do you have something?
You can.
All right.
They
So
may
check
not
this.
use that word, but you can go ahead.
You said what?
They may not use that word, but you can go.
They didn't use the word toxic, but it was presented to me that I was being overtly masculine,
Mm,
right? Men, for me, it was a situation where I had somebody ran into my car, and they didn't run into my car. They didn't rear end me on accident. It wasn't an accident. They were being reckless with the vehicle, right? So in response to that, any man's gonna be like, "What the hell's going on? I got you in my car. I got my son in my car." You gonna get out and be like, "What the hell's going on? Why did you do this?" So this other person was like, "I I think that was so overtly masculine because you got out the car and tried to defend our honor, and it was just too. You could have used a different type of energy to express yourself." And I was like, that's some bullshit because this person was driving reckless and ran into the back of the fucking car. And instead of me getting out the car with this passive energy, like, hey, buddy, what's going on? You want to have sandwiches? I got out of the car like, what the fuck's going on? Is that toxic?
no, I wouldn't say that was a toxic situation. And so like, and I feel like there are levels to this, and I feel like if we get better at defining what is healthy versus unhealthy, and get away from using this toxic language, but we just talk about what's healthy and unhealthy. Anger is healthy. Anger is appropriate. Going into protective mode is appropriate, whether you're male or female. That's an appropriate response. And when someone does you wrong, it is appropriate for you to make it very clear to them what they did and make it very clear to them what will happen if it happens again. Like that
I'm just saying,
that's
hey,
appropriate.
listen,
So where it could become a toxic situation where could become unhealthy is if you would have got out of that car and started shooting people, or if you would have got out that car and started physically assaulting somebody because of the situation. That would have been unhealthy, right? And
Right.
so again, we have to really clearly define the difference between healthy and unhealthy in given situations, especially because we don't live in a society where everyone has the same values and the same um understanding of what healthy and unhealthy is.
And
So
that's
we
what I'm saying. Wouldn't you think though? If say you did, okay, I'm in St. Louis. We're broadcasting live from St. Louis, Missouri, and we live in St. Louis, right? And you know how it is with these young cats, with these younger guys. You have to be on your square with the young cats in St. Louis because they come already on 10, right? So I could de-escalate, but what does that mean though? What does that mean? And in the spirit of the whole thing, and we call it something toxic because when it's two men having a back and forth, this is something that's nature. This is something natural, right? If you look at nature, even the male species is always doing that. But I'm saying this is something that society attempts to water down masculinity and make masculinity wrong.
Mhm.
And no one can define what masculinity is besides the person that's being masculine. Okay, what was masculinity defined as, Aaron? If you could say that again.
Sure, a set of socially constructed characteristics and behaviors traditionally associated with men and boys, but its definition varies across cultures and time periods. It often includes traits like strength, courage, but also encompasses vulnerability, emotional intelligence, and authenticity.
Y'all see that?
Oh,
That's
sounds like a
those are.
male human.
It sounds like a balanced person.
Yeah. Mm.
So I digress.
So,
But Aaron, what's your situation? Tell me about yours if you got one.
okay, so I'll tell you about one. So I tend to do this thing right when I'm out and it's a lot of people around the crowd, right? My head is on the swivel. So I was told you're in too much of a what do you say? You too much in a go mode. Like you watching everything and you don't even and and it's like you always want me in front of you and walking. Yeah, because I need to see what's going on. If I have you walking behind me, then I can't know if somebody doing something slick. Whereas if you walking in front of me, I can see everything. And so yeah, that was said. But you know what happened though? Eventually, it became a thing that she got used to. I didn't have to tell them, but she would get right in front of me when we out. I said, no, because I need to see
Now
everything.
you got to be
And
careful
my
with that. You got to be careful with that, and I'm gonna tell you why. You got to be careful with that because the feminist will say that you were trying to rob her of her natural right to defend herself, and you took it upon yourself from a misogynistic, chauvinistic perspective, and just took the lead on that because you were implying that she couldn't take care of herself.
Let me tell you something. If
how
you don't
dare me?
want if you
How,
don't
how
want a man to protect you, you need to date a woman. That's kind of how that needs to go. If you don't want a man to protect you, date a woman. Because again, when you acknowledge your femininity and you acknowledge your role in existence, you have to allow the man to be a man. Period. What I heard was
What?
protection. What I heard was consideration. What I heard was awareness. What I heard was care.
you said exactly what I was gonna say. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
You hear protection, you hear care, you hear
Mhm.
concern. Why are these things molded as negative things? And Aaron, I subtly, like you said, I think that you were onto something when you said it's subtly an attack on black men specifically.
Well, the question is, and when there was a recent clip that was stumbled across, and that's what they went into on that particular series. So it went from toxic masculinity to black men toxic masculinity. Now there are many other races of men in the world. So then why did they go to that? So that's where I was concerned. Like, why did all of a sudden go to black male masculinity in this segment I was watching, so to speak?
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. And here, so just to kind of like expound on that, the reality is the emasculation specifically of black men, and the reality that you guys, black men, are superior beings. And so if we can, as a society, and when I say we, I'm including all of our other hues in existence, have the opportunities to continue to keep black men at a lower level in our minds and in society, then that keeps everybody else on top. And what happens is we start to perpetuate it, a lot like the feminist movement. The feminist movement was a white woman's movement, and the minute they tapped on us black women and said, aren't we all the same women? And we said, oh, okay, we're in this together, and we bought into it. Eventually they left us behind because they
Yes,
said, thank you for helping me get these rights, but going back to your corner and wash my
exactly.
floor like I asked you to. And
Exactly.
so the same thing is with this toxic masculinity movement that they are trying to create. And when I say they, I mean we know who they are. If we can continue to keep black men in a space where we are fearful of them, where we feel like they are not capable of doing better, where we feel like they are not able to be in homes and have families, where they are not able to have certain job opportunities, if we keep perpetuating this, then we keep black men at a lower level and a lower status, not just in our minds, but also in society. And it is a trick. And us as black women specifically have to stop joining these bandwagons. We are raising sons, we have fathers, we have brothers, and there are some unhealthy things that they absolutely do display, but we do too. And so, if we take the time to acknowledge ourselves as women and how we continue to perpetuate these unhealthy things, then we can hold men more accountable to the unhealthy things that they perpetuate. But we have to get our own, and we can't keep joining everybody else's movement because we get stuck in the end.
I'm saying because it's all about destabilization. If we're looking at the heart of it, if we can make them be against each other, then they'll eat each other up. We won't have to do any work, and we know who they is, right? All right. So, in closing, what do you think that Miss Bay Windows, Manal, what do you think we could do to solve this problem of readily taking these type of titles and attributing it to uh, black men, or being like, I need you to conform to a certain standard to be accepted as or deemed acceptable masculine energy in the home with a black woman? How do you think, what does that look like for you? What do you think that looks like?
Yeah, I think for me, it's having more opportunities like this to first and foremost have the conversation between men and women. That's the first step. So we have to talk about it. We have to actually hear each other out and your experiences. We cannot continue to project our own understanding and our own ideas on how the other gender is supposed to show up and exist, especially when we don't have a good understanding of our own.
Mm,
Women don't really have the authority to speak on men when you're not sitting in your own femininity. And so you have to take accountability for you first, and then then you can have a better gauge of the difference between masculine and feminine, and also what is healthy and unhealthy, especially when you are leaning into your own wellness and working on yourself. So then we can just get an understanding of what is healed and unhealed in men and women. But it starts with you, and then having open dialogue with other people in a way that is objective and non-judgmental, so you can just take on and you can take in someone else's experience.
mm. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Aaron Willis. Aaron Willis, how can we as black people stop allowing ourselves to associate ourselves with certain blanket statements that come from Eurocentricized male hegemony?
You know what? I would say this. We have to tap within ourselves and understand that we are a lot of the successes that we've had in spite of the roadblocks that were strategically placed there for us, right?
Correct.
And so to know that that's where we come from, and to know that we still have far to go, but we have been able to survive. Understand that we have always had it within us to be great because we come from greatness. The foundation of where we are now was us, right?
Correct.
So, and I do want to say one thing in closing, as far as, you know, to our young black males, because they're the ones, and black men in general, whether old or young, who's going to deal with these terms being thrown at them generally, right? When you talk about that,
Sure.
black men don't need to be ashamed or afraid to simply exist in your fullness without apology is powerful. Of course, being a man is having strength and courage. It's not just about that. It's okay to be vulnerable, have emotional intelligence and authenticity, because as we mentioned, that's what the definition represents. And also, we know showing emotions does not make you weak, it makes you human, right? But we need to also not be ashamed to stand tall in our truth. Even when the world tells us to shrink, you stand tall in your truth. Understand that our worth has not always been measured by how much we endure in silence. It's never been measured by that. And endurance in silence is not necessarily in our nature. We have to speak up, but we got to boldly live in our wholeness. And if we're not there, we got to work towards it. And we got to continue to strive for that. And I want all of us, all of our people to work towards that. That's how we move forward. Unapologetically.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you too for being on the show tonight. And thank you for your input. And I thank you for coming on and trying to help us air out the dirty laundry. Y'all have a good night, okay? I'll talk to y'all next week. Man, what I tell y'all? We have to stop buying into the bullshit. The gender war is ridiculous. Black men need black women, and black women need black men. So why are we continuously attempting to place hurdles in the way to prevent us from restoring the nuclear black family? I think we should choose each other. I think we should empathize with each other. I think we should see each other as human, capable of making mistakes, and capable of natural human emotion. So toxic masculinity. Is there a such thing? Should you be calling people toxic, or should you say they're unhealed? You can use toxic, but just think about words. Words have power. Every word that you say out your mouth has power, right? So toxic masculinity has its framework inside of the society that we live in that has been put in place to effeminize our boys, I believe, and make them less than masculine, because then they won't be able to protect you either. It's just something to think about. Consider it. Until then, take your life off spin cycle and come air it out. Next week, we're going to be talking about a real controversial topic. Religion. Has religion become our prison? Next week on Dirty Laundry. Thanks for coming out, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Hand me that Vega, dog. Finna twist it up. My daddy always told me to look before I leap and think before I speak, and watch out for the company I keep, and always pack a heat when I'm out in the streets, and keep an eye out for the crooked police. I'ma let you see the world through my eyes. I'ma let you see, expose all the lies. Born in the belly of the beast, prison of Babylon, refugee from the east. These mean streets, seems like the world just got beef with a nigga. Whole system designed to slay, he had a nigga, yeah. I used to I keep. And always packing heat when I'm out in the streets. Keep an eye out for the crooked police. Yeah, my spirit vexed cause these priests rapping in wolves as they pretend to be sheep. Hope your pockets deep for a small